In this video, we are going to learn about CSS selectors. First, we will understand what is CSS selectors. CSS selector is a part of a CSS rule set that actually selects the content you want to style. These CSS selectors are used to apply the same CSS style for all elements of a HTML page, or else you can apply CSS style for a particular element, or else you can apply CSS style for a two or more elements of a HTML page. There are different type of CSS selectors we will get. First CSS selector is a universal selector. Universal selector is called as a wildcard character. This universal selector uses a symbol star. This star symbol used to apply universal selector means you can apply different properties for all elements of a HTML page. Whatever elements you have used in a HTML page, the same CSS style will be applied for all the elements of a HTML page. These all CSS selectors are written using internal CSS style. These CSS styles already we have learned in a previous videos. If you don't know, you can watch my previous video. Universal selector syntax is already we have understood what is the syntax of writing internal CSS style. First, this style tag should be written inside the head tag. Inside this style, star symbol has to be written. This star symbol means whatever elements you are using in a HTML page, you are applying same CSS attributes for all the elements of a HTML page. Whatever default elements are required for the program, that all I have written here. So now I am going to write a program here. So I am writing h1 tag. Already we have learned about all these elements. Header element. I am closing this h1 tag, and next I am going to write p tag. Here I am going to write a content of p tag. I am closing p tag here, and these two tags I have written. So whatever internal CSS style we are going to declare in the program, that we have to write inside the head tag. Already we have learned about all these CSS styles in a previous video. Next, how I need to declare it. First, style tag, and here I'm going to close the style tag, and here I am going to declare star, and whatever attributes you are declaring for the element, that you have to write inside the curly braces. And here I am going to write attribute for these universal selectors. Here I am going to write color, and next color I am going to apply blue for the text, and next background color I am going to apply yellow. These two CSS styles I am going to apply for all HTML elements. The same CSS style should be applied. Now I am going to save this program, and already I have run this program here. Now I am going to refresh it. Here you can see here what I have done. Star I have used. Star means it will apply for body tag also. So h1 tag and p tag, for all it will apply. I hope you all understood what is universal selector and how to use universal selector. Element selector is also called as a type selector. This selector may match one or more elements of the same name. For which elements you are going to apply this CSS style, that element name you can take here. Means if you have used the same element name multiple times in your HTML program, in all places the same CSS style will be applied. This will helps to apply the same CSS styles for a similar elements of HTML pages. Let's learn these element selector practically. Here you can observe already some default elements I have written and kept here. In this program I am going to show how to use element type selector. Here I am going to write some elements, header 1, and I am closing this h1 tag, and next I am going to write p tag, and here I am going to write a content, and I am closing this p tag, and then again I am going to use this h1 and header 1, and here I am going to write header closing header 1, and then again I will use this p tag and paragraph 2 p tag. Okay, here you can observe two h1 elements I have used in my program and two p element I have used, and here I am going to use these elements inside style tag style, and here I am going to close this style tag. Already we have understood how to declare internal CSS style in a HTML program. Here I am going to write h1, means what will happen by using this means wherever I have used this h1 element in this program, there in that all h1 contains the same CSS style will be applied. Here I am going to use color and blue I am going to declare here. Means what will happen wherever I have used this h1 element in my program, for that all contains the same color will be applied, means the same CSS style will be applied here. Just I am going to save this and I am going to refresh here. Here you can observe in a two places I have used these h1 elements. For these two contains the same CSS style is applying here. One more I will show, background color yellow. You can see here for both elements the same CSS style is applying. Here what I will do, one more advantage of this using element type selector is you can apply the same CSS style for multiple elements. Here one h1 element I have written, next I will do comma you need to use, and I am going to write a p tag. Content of both h1 and p tag, for both it will apply the same CSS styles here. This is only the advantage of CSS styles, means multiple elements you can write in a style tag. ID selector are declared using has preceding with a selector name. This selector matches any HTML element that has the same ID attribute. First, whatever ID you have written for the element, that ID name you have to use while declaring CSS styles inside the style tag. You can observe the syntax of this ID selector. Here style tag I have written, inside this style tag name of the ID I have written. Here in a previous video what we have learned, element selector we had learned. In that element selector we were writing the name of the element, and then here we were writing the CSS styles. Whatever CSS style we have written inside this curly braces, the same CSS style we are applying for the content of a elements. Now what I have written here, name of the ID I have written. This name of the ID is the attribute of the elements. If this ID name is matching with the elements, for all the elements the same CSS style will be applied. Always this ID name should precede with a hash symbol. If you are confusion with the ID selector, let's learn this ID selector practically. Here you can observe I'm going to write h1 tag here. In this I'm going to write some content here, h1 tag, and next p tag I'm writing. Here I'm going to display some content inside the p tag, and again I will take h1 and content will be heading to h1, and then I will write paragraph 2 and p tag. Here you can observe 4 elements I have taken here, means 4 contents I am going to display on my web page. 2 paragraph I have taken and 2 h1 elements I am declaring in my HTML web page. Here you can observe here style tag I have already written and kept here. Here I am going to write, I am writing demo 1 here, means this is the name of ID. This ID I am using as an attribute of this h1 tag. Name of this ID I am going to use to declare in a style tag. I am going to write one ID name, that is the demo 2 for p tag here. Here what I will do, style tag and demo 1 I am going to write here. For this color blue I am going to take, and end of this style. And next I'm going to refresh here. Sorry, you need to declare hash here. Next, save this and run it. Here we can observe this CSS style is applying content of that ID is the same CSS style will be applied here. So if I have used this ID with the same name demo1, already this demo1 I have written for this h1 and the same demo name I am writing for this p also. So what will happen here for these both h1 and p, the same CSS style will be applied here. So here you can observe we are going to learn about class selector. This is the first selector of a CSS selectors. This class selector declared using dot preceding with the selector name. This selector matches any HTML element that has the same class name attribute. We are going to use the name of a class attribute here preceding with a dot operator. Inside this we are going to write different CSS styles. Let's learn this class selector practically. Here I am going to write some elements like header and paragraph elements like how we have done in a previous ID selector. The same thing we are going to do here. And h1 again header 1. I'm closing this, sorry, h1 and again I'm taking p tag. Okay, here both elements I've used 2 times, h1 and h1 again I'm p tags I'm writing 2 times. This same content we are going to display on web page. Here what I will do, if I use class here, class name, and here is what name of class demo, the same name I will give here like how we have done in a previous video, same thing. And here I'm going to write class 1. Okay, here the same class name I have taken for both h1 and p tags here. Means whatever styles I am going to apply, style will be applied for both elements. Color blue I am taking, and you can run this program for both, means for this h1 and for both p tag the same CSS style will be applied because we are writing the class name with a dot operator here. Whatever style we have written inside these curly braces, the same style will be applied wherever you have used this name of a class attribute. Here you can observe for this header and for this paragraph the same. I hope you all understood what is class CSS selector, and if you have any doubts you can comment me in a comment box. Definitely I will try to resolve your doubts, and thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel.